I will dance to beautiful music to impress my friends. Now there's a mother in a kitchen with a frown upon her face, and she is washing all those dishes and wishing to erase all the lines and the wrinkles. So she says to herself, if this liquid will soften my hands, I wonder what it will do for my face. Everyone wants shiny things, things that shine. Everyone wants special things, things that are special. Outfit and party with my friends, and you will live in a tower, never to leave your room, and all your glass shoes will fit you perfectly, reflecting the light of your face. Everyone wants shiny things, things that shine. Everyone special things that are special. Everyone wants shiny things, things that shine. Everyone wants special things, things that are special. Everyone wants gorgeous things, expensive things, lovely things. Everyone wants fabulous things, beautiful things, everyone else's things.
Okay, everybody, Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we've got a very special guest with us on the phone. We just played a track. There is a Wolf in California from Daniel Ouellette and the Shobijin. New disc called The Enchantment, Songs to Sing Whilst You Sharpen Your Pencil. And Daniel Ouellette is actually on the line with us right now. How are you, Daniel?
I'm great, thank you, and thank you for having me.
Did I? Oh, absolutely. Glad to have you on. Did I say that right, Shobijin? I know we talked about it before the interview, and then I'm so afraid that I overthought it and then screwed it up.
No, you were perfect.
Okay.
Absolutely perfect. You said it perfectly.
Well, thank you. Daniel, where are you from?
Well, I'm from Massachusetts. I grew up in a small town called Lakeville, but I'm currently living in Fall River.
Okay.
But I don't like to tell too many people that. So I'm from Massachusetts.
Right. Okay, gotcha. Well, we won't tell. It'll be just between us. Well, actually, this show has, tens of listeners, but
Well, now they know.
Yeah, that's right. Now they all know. So, tell me. Well, actually, first, kind of the obvious question: why the Shobijin? Because your prior work has been strictly as a solo artist, correct?
Yeah. Well, the last EP from 2010 was with the Shobijin as well, and it started out where what I had done was I brought in guest vocalists. So every song had a different vocalist.
Okay.
And so the Shobijin is in reference to the singing fairies from the Godzilla films that sing to Mothra. So that's kind of where that's how I came up with that name for the singers. So then one of the guest vocalists stayed on, and we've been, first it was just she and I for the first year, and then I thought, let's start bringing in other musicians.
Yeah.
And so, to sort of, I always feel like I'm being arrogant when I say this, but I have kind of a big voice, and so the synth music sometimes, especially live, it sometimes isn't, strong enough or something to that effect. So I started bringing in other musicians to sort of beef up the sound, and also it adds, because I use sequencing, it adds a little bit more spontaneity to the music, because the singing has plenty of spontaneity.
Sure.
But the music is always the same arrangement because I'm using synth sequencers, and so that's the Shobijin is in reference to the singers. And for example, we did a series of shows, and we're going to do some more, and there'll be backup singers and guest musicians.
Now, one of the singers, actually, I believe, the last time I saw you live was when my previous project, Chemical Distance, we played a show with you in the Boston area. And I believe, what's her name? One of these girls looks very familiar to me.
Oh, that's right. That is correct. Cheryl was with me at the time. That was right after releasing the last disc, I think.
Okay, yes.
Was it a year ago? It was 2 years ago, wasn't it?
It's probably closer to 2 years now, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was at church, and it was in the fall, wasn't it?
You're right, yes.
Yeah, September, or maybe it was even late summer.
Yep, I think you're absolutely right. And yeah, it was a nice surprise too, because I didn't know that there had been this change in your live show. I didn't know that she was going to be there with you, and it really added a cool dynamic to the whole thing.
Yeah, I like lots of voices and singing, and I imagine that it can become very unpleasant to listen to just my voice only. So I figured, I should start bringing in some other voices.
Well, how do you, now, I think your voice is very pleasant, but how do you describe your vocal style? Because it's definitely unique. I mean, there's something almost sort of operatic about it. Would that be a good word to use to describe it? Or?
Yeah, I guess that's one way to describe it. So on this record, I was trying to sort of work on different sort of phrasings and techniques, because I don't want to, if you sort of oversing something and you're always at full throttle, it can become very annoying. But I guess it is a little bit operatic. I guess there's some sort of trace of, I don't know. I'm always told that I should sing on Broadway, although that horrifies me.
Really?
It really horrifies me to sing songs written by other people for some reason.
Yeah.
So I just call it, pop singing. I don't really know any other way to describe it.
Yeah, because there's really nobody I can think of anyway who sounds like you. It's unique for this genre. And actually, well, let me ask you: has anyone ever told you, the way you sing, it kind of reminds me of so and so, or have you ever gotten that?
Yes. Comparisons. Sometimes, and these are comparisons other people made.
Right.
I'm not, I'm not boasting anything here, but comparisons to David Bowie, Roxy Music, Arthur Brown.
Yeah.
I was once called as if the B-52s and Klaus Nomi had a child. And what was another vocal style? There was someone else. Someone once told me I sounded like Barry White.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's cool. So now, what about this is probably really tricky, but how do you, and everyone hates this question, but how do you describe your music in terms of, it's almost probably really difficult to even try to assign it to a particular genre. I mean, how do you describe what you do? Because I don't know anyone who sounds quite like you do either in terms of the music.
I say electropop.
Yeah.
I say new wave. I will mention that, because there are a couple different styles going on. And I remember playing in Lowell, a show with with Chemical Distance, and there was a nice lady who was with you, and I don't remember her name, and she said that many of the songs, the songs went from different styles, so there was electropop, there's new wave, there's of world music, because I love lots of world music, and a little bit of new age as well.
Sure.
But when I'm asking or when I'm doing any kind of promotion, I just sort of peg it as electropop.
Yeah. Does in terms of playing out, is it a challenge for you to find other groups or solo artists who you're really compatible with in a live setting, because what you do is so unique? Because in addition to obviously the music is unique, and it's hard to, I mean, I have trouble saying, it's this or that in terms of a genre. You explain it pretty well, but is that a challenge for you? Not so much in terms of fitting in with what other people are doing during the live show, but just the process of talking to promoters, talking to booking agents. Is it challenging to kind of get across what it is that you're doing?
It was in the beginning, but not any longer.
That's good.
I think that we've been doing it enough, and the other thing is, if one place doesn't want us or is not interested, or they're not really understanding what is happening, I just move on to somewhere else.
Yeah.
But no, not really.
That's good.
Last fall into this early spring, we played about 7 shows, and I would say I probably booked about 3 of them,
Yeah.
and the rest were all by invitation.
That's great.
But as far as promoters go, I'm not. I do most of all of the booking myself. I've never really tried to find a booking agency, or a promotion company or anything like that. So it's starting to get to the point where I feel like I need to.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I haven't tried. But I don't really know. I just simply explain, the electropop elements of what I explained to you. I show them our website. I tell them some quotes and explain what the live show is going to be like. And I haven't been told no in quite some time.
That's good. That's really good. Yeah, so you're in a good position then. And I want listeners who are hearing this to know, too, that, your live show, obviously the music that you do is really interesting and cool and different, but also the show itself, there are some really cool elements to it. Theatrical, I know, is kind of an overused word sometimes in this industry to describe stuff. But, I mean, how do you describe what actually happens during the show itself? Because it's not just you going out there and you and the Shobijin going out there and singing. There's more to it than that. I mean, there's definitely something visual happening there.
Right. Well, there's visual and there's also interactive as well.
Yes.
But I mean, I start off with it's a pop show. The music is the most important, of course.
Yes.
But I figure that I love to perform these songs, and I'm a bit of I don't know what you call that word. I guess the word is ham, but when it comes to performing anyway. So the best way for me is, I like to move a bit, and I like to see what people are doing and what they're wearing, and if they're paying attention or not, or so I bought myself a cordless mic. Yeah. And for example, Saturday we did a show, and it was good fun. We had streamers, we had the crowd waving banners, we gave out false mustaches.
Yes.
The whole crowd was wrapped up in lights. We were singling at people with flashlights. I handcuffed somebody to me. So it's I guess I guess you could say it's theatrical, but it's very interactive.
Yes.
And I just feel like it's the best way to get people interested in music they've never heard before.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if you can rope them in with songs they've never heard before, to me, it's such a big feat. You know, it's almost taking the element of what many cover bands do. You know, some of them come and they get really cheesy with certain things, and you know, they're giving out horns and tambourines and things like that. So, and it's, you know, it's fun. You're supposed to get out of the house and have fun.
Right, exactly.
So, and we've been sort of hitting more of a lighter side with the music, because, you know, compared to probably the first CD you've ever heard of mine, it was much darker.
Yeah. Well, the first song that I ever heard, the first Daniel Ouellette song I ever heard was "Helicopters Stop Ruining My Life." I believe that's the title.
Yep, that's correct.
And I, which immediately had me hooked on what you were doing, because I just loved it. I remember reading the lyrics, and I was just, this is awesome. It was so weird, but it was funny, and it's very engaging. And in terms of the show being interactive, has it been that way from the beginning, from when you first started performing, or is that something that kind of developed over time?
Let me think back to my first foray into show. I was always a bit. Well, you know what? My first couple shows, I played at the keyboard.
Yeah.
You know, and I am clumsy. As far as I dread playing the keyboard and piano in front of people.
Really?
And I will do it if I have to, but that's where I really start to crumble, when people are watching me play an instrument.
No kidding.
And because I feel like singing takes so much of the energy that I don't know how people do it, how they split up between singing and playing at the same time. I really don't.
Yeah.
So I started to use memory on my synth for some of the songs so I could move around.
Yeah.
And then it occurred to me, maybe I'll start using a laptop and show slides. And then from there, I started shooting video and putting the music to video.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know what next I will do, but, so in the very beginning, there were elements, but not as much as there has been.
Sure.
In the past year or so.
Yeah. And having the Shobijin with you now, obviously, in addition to they're adding vocal dynamics, but I would imagine too that that must open up more freedom in terms of what you can do visually. And I noticed that too when you had I'm sorry, I forget her name already. Cheryl. When you had Cheryl at the show the last time I saw you, you know, one of the songs there was interaction where you and Cheryl were kind of singing back and forth to each other, from what I remember, and so having them with you must kind of open that up too, where there's more you can do visually because you have more people. Of course, you're interacting with the audience anyway too, so I guess you really kind of everyone in the room is involved to some extent.
Oh, yeah. See, whether they're up front dancing or cowering in the back, yes.
Yes.
Or trying to get out of the room.
Have you ever had that?
On Saturday, two guys thought they were going to leave his house saying goodbye.
Oh, really? Yes.
So I had to go to the door, and I was singing on the sidewalk, too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, the music was in, so everybody's inside, and I'm on the sidewalk singing to the passerby.
That's great. That's something you don't see often.
But yeah, no, it helps quite a bit. And for example, I'm just going to use the past couple shows because we've had quite, like on Saturday we played in Boston, and we had two show beats, and we had Cheryl, and then we had a guest vocalist, Anne-Marie Cleary, who was actually the lead singer, or one of the lead singers of a really cool band called Anarch Angel.
Oh, okay.
And she's a trained vocalist as well. So it was really great having her along with us. We could do some other vocal arrangements as well. And then we had a bass player, and we had a guitarist. Actually, the guitarist his name is Kevin Mulcairns, and he plays in the same band with Anne Marie.
Oh,
and then the bass player is my brother-in-law.
Oh.
So, it was nice and full, and, not only was I throwing streamers, but so were the women, and they have different things that I can have them do as well. And they do these, they've come up with a little bit of choreography, and so that's really, it's really become very, maybe not, it's still odd, but not as odd. Perhaps it's even easier.
Yeah.
Because it's, I can understand the weirdness of this guy coming in with a computer and just standing there singing. That would be really strange. And not that it would be bad, but for some,
right,
they would appear it as being odd.
Yes.
And, of course, for many people who are musicians, they may see it as being a hack, always just standing there singing off of, this is like karaoke. I mean, forgetting that, every song that we perform, except for maybe the one-off cover here or there, is something that I've written. And,
right,
and I sit down at the keyboard and I write a song. I don't use programs. I just, I'll make up some... I will find a few things, but I'll make up my bass lines, and I will make up my loops, and or I'll just sit and play the song out completely. So it's still, I write in a very old-fashioned way. I'm terrible with actually. I've gotten a few programs for writing music, and I'm not very good at that at all.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, well, it doesn't really feel like I'm writing a song.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to devalue someone else's way of expressing. I don't want to say that for them it may feel comfortable,
sure,
but for me it doesn't.
Yeah.
And then I took up teaching myself how to play the dulcimer. So there's some songs with dulcimer on it.
Now, so everything that you record, is that all you? Do you have any other musicians, or is that all you on the recordings?
On this latest CD, there are a few guitarists.
Oh, okay.
So there's guitar. There's a bass player on several of the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I have, I have Elizabeth Laurie and Albert Gray. They're playing guitar. So we took away, you might remember on the Superman song, we took away the loop that I was using because it just didn't seem strong enough. So we brought in a guitarist to really push that sound.
Yeah.
So Albert Gray and Elizabeth Laurie, who actually is the recording engineer and also co-produced this with me. So I brought in, my brother-in-law played the bass, Jimmy Sylvia. I had a musician from, and maybe you've met him before. Do you know Joseph Carringer?
Joe Carringer, yes. I've interviewed him. He plays the didgeridoo, yes.
Yeah, well, go ahead and give Ghost in a Jar another listen, because remember, it was on Monsterland, and I'm sorry, but I can't listen to that version anymore, because I really, Monsterland was just a bunch of demos remastered. That's all it was.
Yeah.
So we took that, and we got rid of some of the noises. I mean, we just re-recorded the whole song. I wrote a bass line for it. I added, I did a little riff with the dulcimer, and Joseph Carringer plays the didgeridoo.
I'll be damned. I'll have to go back and listen to that again. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and then we've got accordion and violin.
Okay, so this is a pretty big production then. I mean, in terms of what you've done before. Yeah, because I remember listening, because Monsterland, that was the first disc of yours that I ever heard, and yeah, it was very the production was very sparse, certainly compared to this. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I can't. I honestly, I listened to Monsterland once last year, and I listened to it once this year.
Yeah.
And I don't, outside of a few of the tracks, I don't really, I mean, it's really kind of odd to listen to your own music all the time anyway, but I'll pop in one of my discs every once in a while just to see, I want to see how well it holds up, and do I listen to it and say, should I have done something else? And I don't feel that way about this CD or the one before it.
Yeah.
The EP from 2 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
There's quite a bit of, let me see what, I've got several singers, and there's this track number 3, I brought in my nieces and nephews.
Oh, no kidding. On Forever Disney, yeah.
Forever Disney, yeah, that's a song about Walt Disney's frozen head.
Yeah, that's an interesting track. I dig that. It's not, judging from the title and what it actually sounds like, it wasn't what I expected, which was cool.
Oh, yeah, no, well, I mean, I figured the children would add a creepier element to it.
Yeah.
But the bass line is amazing. My brother-in-law did just such a great job. And that song comes from, well, first of all, Walt Disney's head is not frozen. It's an urban legend.
Yeah, that's Ted Williams, right? Ted Williams is the one with the frozen head.
But Ted Williams' head is, people use it for whatever, football practice.
They were playing, they were doing something with it they weren't supposed to be doing, yeah. Dented it up a little bit.
Tossing a hot potato or something.
But I guess if you're there and you're in the room and no one's around, why not?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I'm not a baseball fan, so I don't care.
So the Forever Disney trick, I was in a, what do you call those things? I was invited to a songwriting circle, which I was very excited about because for years all my friends would be in these songwriting circles, and of course what you needed to own was an acoustic guitar to be in them. Which, makes me hold a grudge against acoustic guitars, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
So the man who ran it asked me, and I was, I was honored, and this is great, finally. So, of course, I used the synth, but I used the dulcimer, too. It was the first song I ever wrote on the dulcimer.
Yeah.
And the theme was Brand New Forever. And I said to myself, people are going to be coming in with love songs. Mm-hmm. I'm not coming in with a love song.
Yeah.
So Forever Disney, and it was written again rather quickly.
Really? Yeah. No, it's good. I definitely dig it.
Thank you.
Now, how many albums have you recorded now? Is this your 4th?
Well, let me think. Gosh. Now, do you want me to count albums I made years ago that I never ever published, or just ones I've released?
No, just ones you've actually put out.
Okay. Well, I guess I would say Monsterland is available. Mm-hmm. Kaiju Carnival is available on iTunes.
Yeah.
And that's an EP. But I have to be the vampire. I still have those discs. You can get that on Amazon, iTunes, all of those places.
Oh,
CD
good.
Baby, and then The Enchantment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are a couple of discs that I used to sell online that I've stopped selling online. But they're not really, they're not available anymore, and none of them were mastered properly.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So that's why I sort of pulled them, and that's where Monsterland comes from. I just took a bunch of things I had worked on before and had them mastered, and I just, I just sell it for $2, and whoever wants it can, some people really like that sort of, as you said, sparse, and you can hear all of the mistakes that I made as learning how to record and be my own producer, and that's really why I started bringing in other people to help me record. It's very funny because, like I said, I'm not as technically inclined as maybe it might seem.
Really, yeah. Did let me ask you, where do your... Well, let me ask you this first, actually. This is what I'm really curious about. The monster thing. I mean, did you grow up watching monster movies? Because you seem to, from what I've seen, have a little bit of a fixation with monsters. Did you grow up watching those old Godzilla movies?
That's what I am. I'm in love with monsters.
Yeah.
Yes. Where did you grow up, Matt?
I grew up in New England, in the Boston area. So, so I grew up seeing. I remember, it was either Channel 56 or 38 had Creature Double Feature.
My friend, Creature Double Feature.
Yes.
Yep, that's exactly,
they show Godzilla versus Rodan and all those old movies with the really bad dubbing.
That's really where that whole thing comes from. And also, I probably watch a monster movie once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just for the heck of it. I mean, and of course the translations are just hilarious. and there are some of the newer ones that have been made that the visuals and the special effects are incredible.
Yeah.
Except the storylines are so bad.
Right, yeah.
That's too bad.
True.
But yes, that's really where that all comes from. Just that whole sort of fantasticness about monster movies and I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. And I try to tweak the ideas as we go because I don't want everything, I don't want everything to be, giant monster 1, giant monster 2, vampire this, vampire that, because people can overdo.
Sure.
I was just having this conversation with someone recently about they knew someone who was in a goth band and everything was vampire, and after a while you just want to run a stake through someone's heart.
Exactly.
The title of the last EP, the vampire, but I have to be the vampire, comes from when I was a little kid, and we used to play house on the what do you call that? The recess time,
Yeah.
And I had some friends, and the tallest friend named Anne was the mother, and then the shortest friend, his name was Scott, he was the baby, and then the one was the sister, and the other one was the aunt. And so I was as tall as Anne, so they all wanted me to be
the vampire?
Father.
Oh, okay.
No, the father.
Oh, gotcha.
But I refused.
Yeah.
I refused, and I said I had to be the vampire.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool.
And to this day, I've never played the dad. I was the vampire.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Daniel,
Barnabas Collins. To hell with you, Johnny Depp.
There you go.
Crappy movie.
Daniel, what do you have coming up? Do you have some shows coming up that you want to mention?
Oh, sure, yes. Why, we have... Let me see, what is the title of this? We have the Throw Your Enchantment into the Sea tour, and we are doing a tour with Salem bass band Orange Nicole, who I suggest you go listen. They're fabulous. And they're going to be coming out with an EP.
Okay.
What did I say it was called again? Throw Your Enchantment into the Spearmint Sea. Let me get that straight.
Oh, okay.
So we sort of mixed the two titles of our albums together to call the tour that. We're starting June 1st in Providence, Rhode Island, and we're playing at a place called the Brooklyn Coffee and Tea House. And then from there, we're going June 3rd to a place called Goodbye Blue Monday in Brooklyn, New York. Then June 4th, we're playing at a place called Connie's Rick Rack in Philadelphia. Then we're turning around, and this particular date is tentative at the moment, but which is, it's so close, but yet it's still tentative. June 6th at Ralph Steiner in Worcester.
Oh, very good.
And then June 7th at the 11s in Northampton. Which is one of my, I love to play in Northampton, and we were in a competition last year, like a battle of the bands. We made it all the way to the end. We were in the big finale, and then ended up being 4th.
Oh, no kidding.
Which isn't bad out of 35 bands.
No, not bad at all.
and we were the only ones who were the way that we were.
Yeah.
And then we're ending June 8th at PA's Lounge in Somerville, Massachusetts.
Excellent. So you got a nice little trek there. That's great.
Yeah, and we've applied to be in some festivals, so I'm hoping to hear from those in Canada, actually.
Oh, very good.
And I'll just keep plugging on until I feel like right before it's no longer fun, or I feel like I'm not able to keep it fresh or good, because I want to stop while it's still good.
Yeah.
I don't want to be Aerosmith.
Yeah, well said.
I know that those are death words for to say in New England, but oh my God.
Well, I don't know. I know a lot of people who feel that way, so I don't know if that's quite so dangerous to say around here. We'll see what their new album brings. But so now, are all these tour dates, are these all on your website?
All on the website, DanielOuellette.net.
Okay.
Was that okay to say?
oh, absolutely. Please, yeah. And for the spelling impaired, can you spell that? Because some people might not know how to spell Ouellette.
Oh, okay. Daniel, Daniel, and then OUELLETTE.net, NET. It rhymes, so there you go. DanielOuellette.net.
Oh, that's true. It does rhyme. And I was on the site earlier. It's a very nice site, and there's a lot of good stuff on there. So I encourage everyone to check it out. And of course, people can find you on Facebook as well. And and you mentioned you have stuff up on iTunes and whatnot. So.
Yeah. And there are videos too. There are videos to each of the tracks.
Oh, there are, really. I'll have to look at those.
I mean, either they're video we shot, or it's stuff I pulled out of public domain archive. And one of my favorite videos is for El Príncipe Solitario. I love that song. I'd go back and listen to it again because the violin playing is phenomenal. Malika Fitzberg, Fitzhugh, plays the violin, and I wanted it to sound as sad as a flamenco song. So it's not flamenco, but you can maybe hear those elements, or Arabic or Spanish folk music, something like that. But the video is this man who's just really upset, and the whole song is about being married and how very sad and depressing it can be.
Yeah. Oh, very interesting. I'll have to go back and check that out. What do you mean? All the married people I know are like super happy.
Well, some are, but some people grow apart.
Yeah, that's true. No, I'm kidding. I've never been married. It doesn't appeal to me. But no, I'll definitely go back and give that a listen. And so yeah, and actually I'll look at all those videos. That's really cool. I didn't realize that. So every single track has a video.
Every single one.
That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Well, Daniel, thanks very much for being here with us today on Matt Connarton Unleashed.
Matt, thank you so very much for being so wonderful and having me chat and being a great support and playing our music. I appreciate it very, very much. Sometimes it's scary out there in the music business.
Yes, it is. We're going to play this track, I Want That Superman song, or I should say it's I Want, and then in parentheses, that Superman song. This is a favorite of mine, and this is, of course, a new version of it for this CD, so everybody stick around and listen to that. And thanks, Daniel.
human strength. I want to kiss Superman in a telephone booth. I want to kiss Superman.